going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, if you can't tell by the title and the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about if you had $5 grand to spend on a Sn95 chassis car like this, what would be the best thing to spend it on? All right, guys, and I know what you're thinking, 5 grand, where am I gonna get 5 grand from? Well, this isn't something that has to be done all at once. This is something that can be done over a period of time, you know what I mean? Like, me and myself, I've never spent 5 grand on this car at once. This is mainly gonna be a video on what you should take and spend that money on, and how I would do it and in what order. There's really gonna be 4 main points to this video. I got some update stuff at the very end. I'm gonna talk about with Onyx and what we're gonna be doing to him next. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But getting into the first point. So guys, if you did happen to pick up a Sn95 Mustang GT, which is really from 94 to 98, even the 99 to 04 is a Sn95 chassis, but they call it the New Edge just because they redid the body exterior and stuff, but it's the same chassis. Anyways, getting back to it, if you did pick up one of these and you are planning on doing some project stuff with it and making it better, usually guys, I'd say 9 times out of 10, whenever you do pick up one of these cars, they do not have the best paint and body work on them. Most of the time, like I said, they have been neglected, and usually there's gonna have to have some work done there. So my first point would be to get the car looking good. Now, you don't have to do it this way. This is just my personal opinion. If you're into the sleeper stuff, build you a sleeper car, just go all out performance with the money, you know, no big deal. But this is what I would do first. So definitely one of the first things for me would be paint, body, and wheels. With one of these cars, it definitely makes a huge difference, really, with any car. If it's got good paint, a good looking wheel on it, new headlights and tail lights, guys, it just makes a really big difference with how the car looks overall. And I get compliments on this car all the time on how the paint and body looks. And guys, you'd be surprised at how much I paid for this paint job. I actually took this car to a local paint shop near me. Now, this was 6 years ago, but I got it painted for $1,000 and that was doing a little bit of body work along with taking the spoiler off and getting the holes filled in with Bondo and just using, you know, going with the no spoiler look. I did that for a while. Now, I did get this car painted. It was right at 6 years ago. So I mean, I know paint jobs aren't cheap, and this isn't by far, this is not like a 10 out of 10 paint job. It's a good 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. You know, it's not perfect, but it looks really good. Like I say, I wasn't going for show car with this thing, just going for something that I could drive around, be proud of, and it looked really good, and, you know, get compliments and stuff like that on it. So my first thing, if I was gonna spend any money on one, definitely paint, body, and wheels. So that's gonna finish up point number 1. Point number 2 being, next I would go for suspension modifications. After you get the car looking like you want it, and for those of you that know, these cars right here do not have a good stance from the factory. They literally look like a 4-wheel drive truck. Bruh. Whenever you get one of these cars and it still has stock suspension, speed bumps are not a problem at all. You could literally probably take this thing over like a 30-foot gap and it would be just fine. Not hurt a thing. It probably wouldn't even scrape the frame, to be honest with you. So with my suspension setup, guys, what I have is a H&R Super Sport lowering spring, BBK shocks all the way around. Also, I have SVE caster camber plates to top it all off. Because whenever you do lower these cars, you are going to have to get in alignment. And if you don't get the caster camber plates, the stock stuff really doesn't have enough adjustment to where you can get your camber back to where it needs to be. Unless you're one of these silly slam boys that just ride around with 9 degrees of camber and have no functionality whatsoever. But that's another story, and we won't get into that because, oh, I could go on forever. So that's my suspension setup, and that's what I would do for point 2, is definitely get some suspension on that thing, some good stuff. I highly recommend H&R Super Sport lowering springs. They definitely dropped the car a ton from where it was stock. I believe whenever I dropped this one with the H&R Super Sports, it dropped it almost 2 inches, and that was without letting it settle. That was checking it directly after I put them on. It was like 1.89 inches on the back and 1.9 something on the front, and I'm sure it's dropped lower than that now since it's settled. So with the H&R Super Sports, you're definitely going to be looking at least a 2-inch drop. So that is going to end off the second point. Let's move on to number 3. So moving on to number 3, we're getting into the nitty-gritty of the video here, which is going to be performance. So getting into the performance aspect of these cars actually came with 2 different engine packages. One being the 302 or 5.0 liter for 94, 95 cars, or the 4.6 liter from 96 to 98. And that would be the NPI version of the motor. And from 99 to 04, they had the PI version, which was performance enhanced or whatever they called it. And it was a 4.6 as well. Now, guys who have the 94, 95, 302 cars, there's a lot of different ways you can make really good power with the 302s. So let me show you my setup. So if you are new to the channel, my car is a 95 Mustang GT with the 302, and it is a stock bottom end 302 with a E303 cam, topped off with the Trick Flow 11R CNC ported heads onto the Edelbrock Performer RPM intake, along with a Demon 650 carb. And underneath that beautiful Demon 650 carb, we have a Nitrous Express Stage 6 nitrous plate system. I'm also running MSD ignition with a 6AL box. The exhaust setup is a 1.5" shorty header down to a BBK off-road X pipe, back to a Pipes Pipe Bomb catback exhaust. Also, another thing that is performance oriented that is a really big deal for these cars is a rear gear. Most of these cars come with either a 308 all the way down to a 273 rear gear. I think most of your Cobra stuff had maybe a 355 or a 373, but if your car still has the stock rear end gear, I do highly recommend going with either a 373 to a 410 gear. It really wakes these cars up and helps them out a ton, even just stock. So with the cars with the 302, you have a lot of different options that you can do to create some really good power. You can either go with the option that I did, which was heads, cam, and intake. And with this setup right here, I almost picked up 200 horsepower to the wheels over stock. As a lot of you guys know, these cars came with like 215 horsepower at the flywheel. And now this car makes 330 wheel horsepower with just heads, cam, intake, and a carb swap. And you should still be able to make those numbers with the car EFI as well. It just costs a little bit more money to run the EFI stuff than what I have. Or if you want to, you can go straight to boost. Boost is a great way to make horsepower on these things, even bone stock with the 302s. Because you can actually take these engines right here, the 302, with like a good On3 turbo kit, and they're a pretty cheap kit. I think an On3 turbo kit for these cars run about 1,800 bucks, which really isn't bad. Because you can take that 1,800 bucks and then instead of putting 200 horsepower to the wheels, you're gonna be making an easy 400 horsepower to the wheels, no problem. Probably on about 10 pounds of boost. And these engines with a good tune and a good setup will hold 400 horsepower, no problem. All right, so that brings us to the 4.6 cars, and I'm gonna be dead honest with you guys. The easiest way to make good, cheap power on a 4.6 car is either go boost or go nitrous, because building a 4.6 liter engine is a lot more expensive than what the 302s are, and it's mainly just because of how the engines are set up. With the engines being an overhead cam engine, usually an overhead cam engine just costs more to build than a pushrod motor like this, and it mainly comes from the parts being more expensive. But same goes with the 4.6 car as the 302 here. You take and put a good On3 turbo kit on your 4.6 car, it's gonna pick up a ton of horsepower really easy right off the rip. Or you can go with a good Nitrous Express nitrous kit. You can pick up a good 100 horsepower, no problem, with the push of a button. As long as everything's tuned right for boost or nitrous, these cars will pick up a lot of horsepower, even on stock engines. So that's gonna finish up point 3 and 4 really, because I kind of mashed the 4.6 stuff and the 302 stuff together. But anyways, you get the picture. If you are enjoying the video, be sure to smash the thumbs up down below, guys. It really helps get these video through the YouTube algorithms, stuff like that. Also, comment down below. I try to comment back to everybody that I can. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't, but I do try to help you guys out if you do have any questions. So if you could do that for you, boy, I'd really appreciate it. So with all that being said, let's get to the update portion of Onyx and what we have planned next for Onyx. All right, so as many of you guys know, the back of the car here is kind of hollowed out, looking pretty empty, and it's kind of cluttered up with camera stuff and just random junk. So probably in the next video we're going to be taking care of this hole right here. Some of you guys probably already know what we're going to do back here, but yeah, we're going to be taking care of this hole. That way it's all filled in and looks a lot more respectable. And also, guys, I'm thinking about going with the Corbeau Harness Kit, which pretty much goes directly behind the seats, and it has a bar here for your race belts, and then it also hooks down here to the bottom of the seatbelt bracket right there. That way you can run your race straps through the seat. So I'm kind of thinking about going that direction. Let me know down in the comments below if you think that would be a good idea, think it would look good. I mean, I personally think it would just take the car to the next level, give it that more of a racy themed Mustang. That's pretty much my background anyway, guys. I do a lot of racing. Also, guys, comment down below, should I up the nitrous jet on Onyx here? But I'll go ahead and tell you what I'm actually running is a 100 shot of nitrous. Now, I thought about bumping up the jet to a 150 shot. I'm fairly positive the car would be fine. Like I say, I can do all kinds of tuning to make sure the car's tuned right, especially with the carb setup. It's really not that difficult. But yeah, let me know in a comment down below, should I up the jet to a 150 shot and go out to Mexico and do some Mexico things with this? Not very safe, and I could get a ticket, possibly get arrested, but I'll do it for the views. But that's pretty much all I have on my mind right now, guys. If you can think of anything else we should do to Onyx next, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. It really helped me out. Like I said, with the YouTube algorithms and stuff, just really helps. But that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I really appreciate you watching. Hope this helped you out. But until next time, as for me and Onyx right here, we'll see you later.